I've lost count of the number of times Facebook has been browbeaten by members of Congress. But something feels different this time, right? Could be because there's a whistleblower spilling tea on Facebook's own internal research that shows the company knows how bad it is for children. Could be because Facebook's whole internet footprint went down for hours yesterday, which, in addition to freezing the influencer economy, left millions of people around the world without their primary way of making calls and chatting: WhatsApp. It all underscores this weird thing about Facebook. It's both unimaginably powerful and bizarrely brittle, facing a real threat to its cultural relevance while still making billions off algorithms that can facilitate, among other meaningful social interactions, hate speech and the rise of extremism around the world. Liz Landers has been following that whistleblower's testimony today on Capitol Hill and joins me now. Liz, how did it all go down?
Krishna, today, senators heard testimony from a Facebook whistleblower who released tens of thousands of pages of internal documents showing how Facebook knowingly offers a product that harms kids and undermines democracy in the U.S.
I saw Facebook repeatedly encounter conflicts between its own profits and our safety. Facebook consistently resolved these conflicts in favor of its own profits. The choices being made inside of Facebook are disastrous. For our children, for our public safety, for our privacy, and for our democracy. And that is why we must demand Facebook make changes.
Senators from both parties agreed. Do you think they're undermining democracy specifically?
Yes, I think it has had an effect on our democracy. The algorithms that put out and promote the polarizing content.
Do you share that concern?
I think social media platforms certainly are contributing to a polarization that I think exists in this country. And I think what that does is people get into their little bubbles, and there isn't the kind of discourse that creates strong democratic conversations.
Congress lambasting Facebook is a regular occurrence here on Capitol Hill. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle said that today's revelations have pushed the urgency of the conversation and the need to pass legislation that regulates Facebook specifically.
Facebook and big tech are facing a big tobacco moment, a moment of reckoning.
Haugen is a data scientist by training and was a product manager for Facebook's Civic Integrity division starting in 2019. She acknowledged that she did not work on child safety issues or teen mental health issues while at the tech giant. Facebook also said at the conclusion of the hearing that they, quote, don't agree with her characterization of the many issues she testified about. But what makes her testimony so important is that she's releasing Facebook's own internal research that Congress itself has been demanding for years.
The company intentionally hides vital information from the public, from the U.S. government, and from governments around the world. But there's one thing that I hope everyone takes away from these disclosures. It is that Facebook can change, but is clearly not going to do so on its own. My fear is that without action, divisive and extremist behaviors we see today are only the beginning.
Haugen put the onus squarely on Congress, and every senator we spoke with today had their own proposal for reining in the company. Senator Klobuchar's legislation, for example, aims to break up Facebook's alleged monopoly. Her bill would give the Department of Justice and Federal Trade Commission more enforcement power on antitrust issues. Other bills, like Senator Rick Scott's, seeks to increase privacy protections by requiring large technology platforms to ask consent to collect and sell your data. It seems like there is bipartisan outrage today about what you're hearing from this whistleblower. Are you working across party lines? Do you have support for that bill right now?
I think you're absolutely right. That a lot of people have different ideas of how to do this. I mean, we're trying to get other people to help with our bill, and I look forward to looking at other bills that people have proposed. But I think what's come up in the last, especially with the young lady that was testifying today, is people now, we know we have a problem, right? We know we have a problem. We know we've got to come up with a solution.
So my hope coming out of this is we get a clear pathway with the public behind us on finally passing privacy legislation and doing something to upgrade our competition policy so that these platforms can't buy everything in sight. Next year, early on, we had better turn on the floor of the United States Senate to doing something on tech.
Krishna, the senator from Minnesota is being realistic about the timeline for this. The Senate has to raise the debt ceiling and pass huge infrastructure and spending bills first.